Right then, welcome back to Stretford Paddock. My name is Stephen Howson, and today I wanted to talk about central midfield, defensive midfield, if I can be specific with you. Manchester United have got an absolutely desperate need to bring in somebody that can control the centre of that pitch, someone that can aid us in playing out, someone that can screen and protect the back four, but also someone that can facilitate quick vertical play, moving it through the thirds. And for me, one of the most important positions in a football team is your defensive midfielder. Now, back in the day in a 4-4-2, you used to have two players that would do box-to-box. One might be a little more inclined to go forward. One might be a little bit more inclined to sit deep. But in the modern game, certainly the last 15 or so years, it's become increasingly common for 4-3-3s or even 4-2-3-1s, where you're going to have either a single or a double pivot of a 6. Some people call them a 4. I like to call them a 6. And that position for me, for Manchester United, is absolutely vital. Probably the best player that we've had in that position in recent years has been Michael Carrick. And I remember the outrage when Michael Carrick was signed. He was given the number 16 shirt, which was probably a mistake, because then he got compared to Roy Keane. And he was totally different to Roy Keane, and the game was different to when Roy Keane played. Roy Keane was a box-to-box number 8 that could do it all. He got forward and he got back and he covered every single blade of grass and he kicked every single person on that pitch, and he kept it so simple, it was incredibly elite. Latterly, Roy Keane, as his legs started to go, became a bit more of a Makalele style number 6 that sort of patrolled one half, screened the back four a little bit more, and didn't really have the legs to be able to get forward and get into the opposition box. Then Michael Carrick comes, and people remember Roy Keane. Roy Keane was very much what Brian Robson was, or Brian Robson was very much what Roy Keane was. And Michael Carrick was neither of those things. He wasn't an aggressive nail tackler. He wasn't someone that would steam in and muller people. He defended by closing space, by closing passing lanes, by intelligently sort of marking a couple of people at once and using his agility. He was a big lad as well, so he used a stride to get across. He would have a serious amount of interceptions. His reading of the game was flawless. He was quite a quiet player, but his passing was elite. He had a range. He didn't have that sort of Pirlo-esque sort of constantly pinging it to opposite sides and opposite wings, but he had a serious incisive ball that would break the lines. He would be able to play it into the feet of the striker, in beyond a winger. And playing alongside Paul Scholes, you didn't notice it, because Scholes would be there to do the constant metronomic sort of ticking around and keeping it going, and then he'd put the spectacular balls in on top of that. Michael Carrick, by comparison, alongside him, just looked like he was doing it really simple. But the simplicity is the difficult thing. Now, when I look at this Manchester United squad at the moment, I see Matic is probably our most natural number 6, and even he was a number 8. Outside of that, Fred at a number 6, McTominay's being used as a number 6. No one's really a number 6. No one really has that full sort of rounded out range of skills. So I wanted to look at 5 players who could potentially come and be that number 6. Now, the first one on that shortlist, I would say, if Ralph Rangnick is going to have any sort of long-term involvement or even short-term involvement with Manchester United, Amadou Haidara at RB Leipzig, 24 years of age, from Mali. Transfer market's got him listed at about 21 million. You're looking at around about double that, it seems. In the Bundesliga this season, 1 assist and 2 goals, 15 appearances. Again, Michael Carrick style stats. Nothing that you're going to be like, oh my God. But that's not what his job is. His job is there to facilitate moving the ball through the thirds and to screen the defence. That's a genuine number 6. 1.5 interceptions per 90. Nothing to really write home about. When you start to look at his percentile means, if you're in the 99 percentile, you're better than 99% of all the other players in the world in your position doing X, whatever X is. So this is where Haidara is. 95th percentile for progressive passes. That's what you want, I guess, from a number 6. You want him to be moving that ball through the thirds. 85th percentile for progressive carries, which means that he's got options. He can mix it up. He's still a very good player when he's driving out from the back, which is, I think, something that we forget we can do at times. He's in 85th percentile for shot creating actions, which is sensational for someone played so deep, which means that he's bashing the ball in into goal scoring opportunities for people quite often. And then it slows off a little bit with a couple of things that you would probably expect. One you would and one you probably wouldn't. It's in a 62nd percentile, which is quite low for pressures per 90. But again, pressures per 90 for a number 6. All of these players on this list, you're not going to see any of them with high pressures per 90 because of the way they play. And then tackles, 2.64 tackles per 90, which is in the 71st percentile, which is like above average. Nothing really to write home about. In terms of the data, it's pretty strong. In terms of the eye test, it's even stronger. And the fact Ralph knows him, has worked with him, and thinks that this is what East United team needs, he's got to be high up on any list for me. Not really many negatives to him. Tchouameni from Monaco, 22. Transfer market got him listed at 36 million. League One stats this season. Again, 1 goal, 1 assist. You're not going to see many of them with much more than that, really, to be honest. 23 appearances, 3 interceptions per 90, so it's a bit stronger than Haidara's. He's in the 79th percentile for progressive passes, 73rd for progressive carries, so nowhere near progressive as Haidara is. But he's in the 98th percentile for tackles, telling you that this guy is a way more aggressive tackler in this position. Again, 63rd percentile, right next to the 62nd percentile there, where Haidara is when it comes to pressures. 1.8 shot creating actions per game, which is considerably less. He's only in the 49th percentile. So this is someone that you're looking to probably excel on the more defensive side of the game rather than the in-possession side of the game, if that's what you're looking at. For me, I know he's got a lot of admirers. He's quite low down on the list in terms of who I would like. Someone I would like, though, a little bit more of an all-rounder, and that's Boubacar Kamara. I think he's got more potential than he is ready right now. 22 years of age. He's going to be available on a free transfer. 1 goal, 0 assists. Again, as to be expected. 1.4 interceptions. Middle of the road. And then a lot of these stats are middle of the road. Now, this is what I like about him. Not that it's middle of the road, is that it's middle of the road, both attacking and defending. So he can do a little bit of both. And that's 4.8 for progressive passes, 71st percentile, 73rd percentile with 4.72 progressive carries. So he can pass, he can dribble, but also 2.62 tackles, which is the 71st percentile. So again, above average on the tackles and the passes, nowhere near on the pressures. He's not someone that you're expecting any pressures from, and pretty below average when it comes to shot creating actions as well, with only 1.76. But again, he goes fairly high up on my list, especially, and he probably gets bumped up a place because he's a free transfer, and a free transfer is a bargain. Now then, someone that Manchester United have faced recently, and I think a similar profile to Tchouameni, and that is Bissouma, 25 years of age. Transfer market's got him listed at 22.5 million value. I think you're looking at 3 times that to get anywhere near him. 16 appearances, no goals, 1 assist in the Premier League, 2.2 interceptions. You see, all of these stats for all of these players, they're right there, aren't they? 16th when it comes to progressive passes in a team that has a hell of a lot of possession. Not great. 5.05 progressive carries, which is very above average, almost like very good, in the 77th percentile. 20th percentile for shot creating and actions, which I think might be the lowest on this list. Hardly any pressures, 29th percentile again, but 95th percentile when it comes to tackles. So again, another one a little bit like Tchouameni, where he's putting in those tackles and maybe not progressively passing it as well as some of the others that are on this list. Certainly someone that's worth looking at then. Perhaps the most expensive player on the list, Declan Rice. Well, where does Declan Rice rank in all of these compared to the rest of these guys? He's got 1 goal and 4 assists. Transfer market got him valued at £67.5 million, which I think is probably about £30 million short of what he's going to have to go for. Interceptions per 90, 1.7. Again, right bang in the middle for all of these players. And according to his percentile stats, we're looking at 3.51 progressive carries, 39th percentile, way below average, 6.77 progressive carries, which puts him in the 91st percentile, which is one of his strongest things. He's actually carrying the ball out. 34th percentile with 1.6 shot creating actions per 90, 14.35% pressures, which is one of his worst stats. It's just not there, and that's a feature of being in a David Moyes team. They don't press, they sit off and they low block. And 55th percentile when it comes to tackles. So out of all of those, who are you looking at for your sort of your best all-rounder? In my opinion, the person with the highest sort of average ranking scores there, you're looking at potentially Tchouameni, who's got very, very strong tackles, 98th percentile, and then 79th percentile for carries, 73rd for carries, and 79th for passing. Decent. Or you're looking at maybe Kamara, who's only 71st for tackles, but 71st and 73rd for carries and passes, and available on a free transfer. I think you've got to be looking at probably Kamara or Tchouameni, or potentially Haidara. Haidara is a lot higher up than most of these when it comes to the stats. 95th percentile when it comes to passes, 85th percentile when it comes to carries, 71st percentile when it comes to tackles, 85th percentile when it comes to shot creating actions. If you need an all-rounder, it's very easy to understand why Ralph Rangnick was looking particularly at Amadou Haidara. But that's 5 players that I think Manchester United could look at. I think all of them probably do come in and improve United. I'm less keen on Declan Rice simply for the fact of his price. I think him and Bissouma being Premier League proven is a massive bonus for them. But I think the cost of both of those, I think Rice and Bissouma are the most expensive on that list. And then I think you're probably looking at Haidara and Tchouameni being very similar, and Kamara available on a free. But out of those 5, you guys let me know in the comments. Do you think it's likely we're going to get any of those? Who out of those do you think? If I had to give you my list in order, I'm thinking still Kamara, even though his stats aren't quite as good as Haidara. Haidara next because of the cost, and then after him probably Tchouameni, and then probably Rice, and then probably Bissouma in that order, or potentially Bissouma and Rice flipped around purely on the basis of how much they cost. But you guys let me know in the comments what you think. I'll see you in the next one.